Hello, it's Sonia again, and a new journal to share with you. This one is, I can't remember the measurements, sorry, but it's listed in my Etsy shop, and if you're interested, you have all the details there. I will add, of course, the link in the description box. So, it's completely handmade, of course. I mean, in terms of the cover is made from scratch, and it's well, it's sturdy. It's sturdy because it has chipboard inside, and on the cover there's quite a bit. I mean, I took some coffee dyed cotton fabric and then sprayed it and painted it a little bit with white acrylic paint, and then stitched, of course, you can see that, hopefully. And here is a collage of various fabrics and laces, vintage laces. I added some pom-pom here, and there are beads that I've sewn on. And this image is, I actually just cut it into this shape. I mean, it was like a normal photograph, because it is a true vintage image of this young lady, or, well, I think it's actually a child, but she's so pretty and she's posing so nicely. I hope that you can see. Let me try to zoom in. It's a beautiful image. She's obviously in a photo studio with some nice background, and and the image is faded because it's old. But it's really lovely. Anyway, it's tied with this organza ribbon, and let me try to, okay, stay in focus and in frame. So the journal lays, very nicely. It's not completely flat because I have so many, added things. But if you take that out, it's really very comfortable to write in. And yeah, it's stitched. It has different papers. It has, of course, handmade embellishments, all kinds of things. Here I created this journaling tag out of some vintage paper and this beautiful stamp. And it's a pocket here, of course. Some embellishments. This butterfly, I painted it and embossed it and stamped it, and all kinds of things going on there. It's very pretty. And here's a little envelope with some vintage ephemera, because the whole journal has that vintage feel, right, and look. And this little tuck spot, it's a leather flower and some recycled leather and my crocheted flower on my handmade paper. This is coffee dyed paper. Here's, this actually flips out. I just folded it to, to act like a pocket. And I have this cute tag that you can write on. Of course, my eco-dyed papers. Coffee dyed paper. This is some recycled craft paper with velvet and lace and bling sewn on. Actually, it's sewn together then glued on. And my handmade paper heart. I have to have hearts, of course, in a journal. Yeah, some really cool papers here. vintage images, stamping, more eco-dyeing, another piece of vintage ephemera from 1940, no, this is from 1960 actually. So cool. Looks really cool. This bird cage with some bling is just a place for tags or your stuff, you know, receipts or whatever you'd like to add. Some, again, vintage ephemera from the 60s. Vintage cardstock. Another lovely image. Coffee dyed paper, eco dyed. This one is really cool. And I combined these papers, of course, with a little bit of designer paper to, you know, just soften it up a bit. This lovely polka dot paper just, you know, adds a little bit femininity, I think, and just softness against all the coffee dyeing and everything going on. So yeah, in my opinion, that's more journaling tags. A pocket I created out of paper and some meshy fabric fibers, bling, crocheted flower, heat embossed, gold embossed bird, just because it's pretty. This is an envelope. Obviously it's not glued down. You can do that if you wish, or you can write on the inside, of course. And a piece of vintage ephemera that also you can write on. And I embellished it because it was after coffee dyeing, it was still sticky. I added some cotton fabric to the inside, and then on the outside there are laces and paper flowers and this metal flower, and I think it looks really, really lovely. I like it. Lots of room for writing, of course. I always like to leave almost always a lot of room for writing. More vintage ephemera that is very usable. You can write on it. Yeah, this is just dry embossed paper, inked and all that stuff. This is vintage paper, and I made this collage, stamped an image, added these flowers that I made. I love these flowers, they're so cute. And then there's a collage tag, a cardstock, and some beautiful lace down there with bling. More really cool eco dyeing. Really, really cool. And some really cool coffee dye. I mean, this is just, can you see it? This turned out way cool. I like that, very grungy. Another handmade tag with vintage and coffee dyed papers. Another embossed and glittery bird. This is a belly band with a handmade flower and a collage of fabrics and papers. And again, two smaller tags. Journaling tag here, another tag here. And this metal, I added this, you know, just for fun and for some interactive like look in this journal. It's metal and it's on a brad, so I've left it with a little bit of space so that it can move, and of course that you can tuck things behind it, up and down, wherever. And this little thing is really, really cool. It's a vintage envelope, and you can see how how old that is, because it's damaged. And I just love this handwriting. You don't have to understand what it says. I mean, it says to Mr. blah blah blah. But it's done. You can see that it's done with a pen and ink, and it's just, or a fountain pen. But it's definitely ink. But it's so lovely. And then on the inside is some kind of like it says here a lawyer. Business card. Oh my god, my brain just stopped. Business card. And it says that lawyer is thankful for a card and congratulates New Year 1935. It's just wow. It's so cool. So yeah, I really love that. So you can tuck it here or there, up or down. This is a heart, just as a decoration. More eco dyeing, some faint stamping here of a bird cage. Another piece of vintage ephemera. This one is from, can I read that? Yeah, 1940. It's either 40 or 48. I can't see very well. But it's a lovely old postcard. And it goes there. It's also vintage paper, and again I embellished with a quite simple collage, and you can write there. I've left this page like that. You can glue a piece of paper over that, or just stuck something on with paper clips or whatever. But I've left it because it's in English. Maybe you could, I mean, if you speak English, whoever buys this journal could read that. It's from the book about vintage postcards and all those postcards were of one town here in Serbia. So it's talking about that town and, you know, like, its history. And that's obviously just an enlarged page of some kind with writing from that book. And it was such a cool book. I mean, very cool to use and to cut, I must say. This is my handmade envelope, and it's empty. You can add your things to it. This huge old, from 1986, postcard. It's really cool. You can write a ton on the back of it, and it's just you know, like a writing pad if you need to add some stability to the page. But it's really nice. It fits very very nicely into this journal, and it's pretty. It's very pretty. So that goes wherever, of course. This is a piece of stationery, very nice stationery. I just added it there for the color. It's from the 90s. So, you know, it's old, but not like terribly vintage. Another collage on this coffee-dyed envelope with paper and metal and fibers and fabric. And then I added this heart because this is a brad, and I prefer to cover the those legs, as I call them. And inside is a journaling card and another piece of vintage ephemera, usable, again, not just decorative. Although I do love to add decorative pieces, just, you know, for the feel of a certain theme or something. This is lovely, again from that book about postcards. Beautiful image of a church, although I didn't cut it. It was already like that, but it's obviously a church, and some people in front of it, and then this image here, and then where there was some text, I wanted just to, not to hide it, but to utilize that space, so I just embellished it a little bit, so now it's really, to me it looks more interesting and textured, of course, and a bit more color. This is just a fun collage on a piece of cardstock. You can write on there. Another handmade tag with some feathers stamped on it, and this lovely lace. Eco dyeing, book page bag, coffee dyed, very, very nicely. Yeah, I like that. Of course, for you to add things to it. Vintage cardstock, eco dyeing. This is a pocket here. Lovely, lovely paper. Again, pocket here. Cardstock. This is just an embellishment with my crocheted flower, and I stapled that to the page. Just a nice detail here of a very old handwriting. That's the other side of the bag. I just left it like that because it's so cool, but you can of course glue something on it or do whatever you'd like. Eco dyeing, again, a little bit of design paper just to soften things up. Another very simple, not a collage really, it's just tape and a die cut leaf, and I added this piece of vintage paper over the text. The other side of that image with the church, and this is really cool. This is another piece of vintage ephemera, and again you can probably see how very old this envelope is, and it's from the bank, and it has this wonderful design. I just love these things because they show how people used to make everything of before. I mean, more quality stuff and more pretty stuff, and now it's just like it's done in like gazillion pieces, but I don't know, I just love this. It's empty, there's nothing inside. It's just for fun and for the whole, as I said, feel of this journal, which was supposed to look vintage. This is just a journaling card. So yeah, there's some lace here. That's the back page, and that's the journal. So now it closes quite nicely. It's not too fat. I mean, okay, it won't stand on its own, but but when you put it like this, it stays pretty much flat, but it's okay. And when you take out, if you take out all the bulky pieces, it won't, be like an alligator mouth. But even if it does, who cares? It has a nice ribbon to hold it closed, and it's just nice fun journal to write in and to play with. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it came out. So I hope you like it, and if you do, let me know. Okay, let me be in the center. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.